So there are two types. There are two types of dictionaries. One is MedDRA and one is Houdini. So how these two dictionaries are being used and what is this two dictionaries been doing? So all those activities we will be seeing today. Okay. So first one, why should we code and what is coding and who will code, how to code? So all these four questions. So why coding, what is coding, who will code and how to code? So why this coding has to done? So what is the importance of medical coding in particularly clinical trials? Now, what is medical coding or clinical data coding? So you get a lot of adverse events and you get a lot of drug details or you get a lot of indications and also drug interactions during your conduct of clinical trials. The information is very vast and it is unorganized way you are going to get adverse events and other details from the patients. So now it's a process where the organizing information. So the information is being organized in a categorically way where it can be sorted, stored, and retrieved. So three things we can do it. If you organize the clinical trial data, which are adverse event data or drug data, you can sort it and you can store it and you can retrieve it. So this kind of information or this kind of a process is called as medical coding. Conversion of terms into codes is called as medical coding. A transformation of qualitative data, like say, for example, if it is an adverse event fever. So how can you represent the fever in terms of numeric values, numbers values, because fever can be said in a different meanings. How can you convert fever word into numeric value is called as medical coding. So qualitative data, which is fever, is being converted into numeric data that can be entered into computer files. So this is the process which is called as medical coding. And this is a process which is used for stabilization of medical codes. Like say, for example, everyone is submitting their data in a different manners. How can you stabilize the way or how can you make sure the patient medical records, including medications, adverse events, medical histories, and medication procedures, diagnoses, and disease condition? All those can be brought into standard terms, standard codes, and validated methods and dictionary is called as medical coding. So now simple thing, conversion into qualitative data into numeric values, and the qualitative data is all about your medications, adverse events, and medical histories, and medication procedures, and diagnoses, and disease conditions. And this will be used by validated medical dictionary, which is your MedDRA dictionary, which we will be looking into it in later on. So now what happens during clinical trials? It's a simple logic. Clinical trials is conducted to collect the data from the patients in order to make sure that the evidence for the safety and efficacy is being checked. So now patient gives a lot of information. So it can come from sensors or labs or e-diaries and patient itself or from the investigator or here from the nurse. So data can be generated from or anyone who is investigator or something like that can give this data. And this data is completed into sites, which is case report form. So site will collect this all information from the patients or from the hospitals and all those things. And this data is being captured into case report form. And then from there, we will start the next process, which is called as coding. So you start the next process, which is called as coding. So the codes are being given by your numbers. So the codes are being given by your numbers. Like say, for example, numeric values. So names are replaced with numbers. The data is coded. So the data which is coming from the site in the CRFs are being coded and made sure that it is numeric values. And this data is collected and stored into your systems or cloud systems or networking systems or anywhere in the network. Then finally, you send this coded data to the statistical people. So now the statistical people, based on the numeric data, they will come and say that, okay, this many adverse events has happened. So now this is the overall process that what happens to data in clinical trials. First, data is being collected and then entered into CRF and then coded, names are replaced with numbers and then archived and then analyzed and reported. So this is the whole process called as what happens to the clinical trial data and how coding will occur. Now, the next biggest question, why to code? Why should we use coding? Why should we use MedDRA codings or WHO codings and all. So because the most of clinical trials are multi-center trials, and this multi-center to get more patients and also more data. And different investigators can give different ethnic backgrounds, can give different names and qualitative data about different terms used in clinical trials, either it is adverse events or medications or medical histories or diagnoses or indications. Possibility of recording medical and scientific data in different fashions can be done. So example is gastric inflammation, gastritis. So they can say in 2 words, heart insufficiency. So they can say in heart failure also, emesis. They can say vomiting also, but we might get confused that there are 2 adverse events, but actually it is only 1 adverse event or 1 medical history. There might be spelling errors. There might be something which is different for different regulatory bodies. So that's the reason why we have bought one standardized dictionary, which is MedDRA dictionary for the coding purpose. Multi-center clinical trials, different investigators and different terminologies and also spelling errors and different countries regulations ask us. Now, what helps in coding? Coding helps to ensure the data is accurate, unbiased, consistent classification of CRF verbatim. So CRF is case report form where you collect the data from the investigator. So it makes sure that coding, if you do, it has accuracy, it has unbiased, it has consistency. So 3 things. And also it facilitates its efficient retrieval. So the retrieval of data is more important here. The medical meaningful review. So earlier you got 100 adverse events, which are fever or hypothermia or this, which is not medically meaningful review data or simulation and analysis data. But by using MedDRA, you can facilitate the efficient retrieval for meaningful outcome. Reduce the variety of medical text. So there are medical texts which are variety of things. We can reduce it. We can only have standardized codes, numbers, numeric values. The automatic classification of medical text for summary table. So you can put in summary table and analysis while you are submitting to the regulatory bodies, and clear medical text data is being given in databases. So coding helps all these things, all this way. And what to be coded? So all those things we have said, what is coding, why coding helps, and what should be coded. So all this terminology has to be coded, including adverse events, serious adverse event, concomitant medications and indications and medical histories. And also sometimes the newer previous histories or previous concomitant medications also can be coded. So this is about your medical coding, what to be coded. Coding of AEs, SAEs and CM is mandate in any of given trials. So if you want to conduct a clinical trial, one team will not be leaving. That team is called as medical coding. Coding of AE and SAE and CM is mandated by the regulatory authorities. If you don't submit the data into the codes, they will not accept it. So that's why highest paid people are medical coders or clinical coders. And this job is particularly for HCPs, healthcare providers, including B farms or M farms or PharmDs or MBBS or BDS or biotechnology people. Now, who will code? So who will code? It's about HCPs, which is healthcare professionals, including pharmacists, doctors, PPTs, and nurses. Non-HCPs with coding committee reviews, if possible. HCP present in central coding committees also can be done. So some of the people who have done the coding courses or coding knowledge, so can do this kind of activities also. Okay, now how data is coded? So how are we going to code it? So there are 2 types of codings. One is non-regulated codings and one is regulated codings. Non-regulated codings is hospital codings. You get hospital patients and then patient will give a disease and then you have to code it. That is not non-regulated. It means that there is no regulatory authority where you are going and submitting this data. It's just for insurance. But there is one more big thing which is called as regulated coding. We work under regulated coding. So regulatory authorities, DCGI, US FDA, EMA, TGA, Anvisa and Health Canada regulates us. So this is something which is regulatory bodies. There are other dictionaries, like say, for example, COSTART and ICD-9 and WHO ART. So these dictionaries are generally used for medical coding for hospitals. So generally COSTARTs and ICD-9 and also WHO RT is being used for hospital coding. But for regulatory codings, we have only 2 dictionaries. One is MedDRA dictionary and one is WHODD. So what is MedDRA is medical dictionary for regulatory activities. What is WHODD is World Health Organization drug dictionary. So above 5 dictionaries are widely used. How to code? If in interview, if they ask any questions like this, you need to answer in this particular way. And the biggest one, MedDRA is being written first, M is capital, and the two words ED is small letters and DRA is capital. So MedDRA stands for Medical Dictionary for Regulatory Activities. Medical Dictionary for Regulatory Activities. Now, what is MedDRA? Definition. In a theoretical way, how MedDRA can be defined. So MedDRA is a clinically validated. So it's a clinically validated international medical terminologies. So it is the one dictionary which can convert the terms into numbers used by regulatory authorities and also regulated biopharmaceutical companies. So sponsors has to use, CROs has to use, hospitals has to use, and regulatory authorities will use. Regulatory authorities have insisted us to do the coding in MedDRA. So it means that you can't escape if you don't learn MedDRA. So that's a simple logic. The terminology is used through entire regulatory process from pre-marketing to post-marketing, including data entry, retrieval, evaluation, and presentation. All this together, it is considered as a MedDRA. So this is something which is very important for a MedDRA coding. Now, what to be coded, what not to be coded. So these two questions, they can be asking in interviews, what to be coded, what not to be coded. What is into the coding? So all these terminologies are into the coding. So diseases, diagnose, signs, symptoms, indications, investigation name, qualitative results, lab results, and medical surgical procedures, social histories, family histories, medication errors, outcome of medication error, product quality complaint, devices, and also other terminologies. So now what is not to be coded is demography, clinical trial designs, and numeric values, and also any drugs which cannot be coded. So drug name cannot be coded. Other than that, any diseases and adverse event can be coded. Yeah. So now where the MedDRA is used. So how MedDRA has been used, I have already said where the MedDRA has been used. So only apart from preclinical testing, we use for every phase. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and also marketed studies. And who will use this? They will be used by regulatory authorities, ICSRs and CSRs, IEBs, core committees, and also marketing applications, publication, prescribing information, and advertising. Everywhere we use MedDRA dictionary, and every time we have to come up with MedDRA dictionaries for medical coding. Now, what is the hierarchy of MedDRA? So MedDRA is being developed by MSSO, Maintenance Support Service Organization. It gives two versions. One is major version, which is March, and one is a minor version, which is September. So now what is the hierarchy structure? So there are 5 hierarchy structures. One is SOC, system organ class, nearly 27 are there. HLGT, which is high level group term, which is 337 are there. And high level term, which is HLT, 1737 are there. Preferred term, so this is the preferred term is more. And standardized MedDRA queries, SMQs will be there. Lowest level terms, nearly 80,000 are there. This is the hierarchy structure: SOC, HLGT, HLT, PET, and LLT. Yeah, so one of the best example, the adverse event term has been entered as nausea. So preferred term, they have entered as nausea. So we have entered as nausea. So now then we have to code all the SOCs to LLTs. Now the first one, SOC comes as nausea comes into SOC, which is gastrointestinal disorder, GI disorder. And then high level group term, which is gastrointestinal signs and symptoms. High level term, nausea and vomiting. And high level term below, you have preferred term, which is nausea and feeling queasy. This is an example. And these are the classification of SOC. 27 SOCs are there. Each SOC we have to understand which adverse event which go into which of this particular SOCs. We have to understand this particular SOCs. Now, this is a classification. One more example: cardiac disorder, cardiac arrhythmias, rate and rhythm of disorder of NEC, and then PT is arrhythmia. And LLTs have 4 or 5, which you have to take it. Then that's what you have to pick it up. And this coding is in different languages. There are different languages which we are using in coding. So as of now, there's many languages are there, but we use in English, particularly in English we use it, but it is in Japanese and French and Czech, Chinese and Russian and German, Portuguese, and all those language we have. So multi-axis terminologies, the same terminology, which can be coded into 2 types. One is influenza, which comes into viral, and one is influenza, which comes into organ. So there's 2 types of multi-axis terminologies will be there, where you can code 2 things. And now MedDRA codes, the numeric codes, it will be having 8 digits. Numeric always starts with number 1, Codes can be fulfill a data in various electronic submissions like E2B submissions. Now, E2B is the data elements used for submission of ICSRs. New terms can be assigned sequentially or continuously. There are other things which is low-level term. The most accurate reflects reported verbatim. So most accurate is low-level term. And degree of specificity also we can give. And current LLTs only can be given. Non-current terms, which are historic purpose, cannot be given. Historic purposes cannot be given in LLTs. Now, who maintains MedDRA? MedDRA is user-responsive terminologies. Users may submit their issues or queries. They can say that, okay, this term is missing in MedDRA. Can you add it? So now, like that, you can have the submissions for maintenance and support service organization for considerations. Users can submit. And the MSSO will review all the new records or all the new advertisements or indications, and then they will submit this to the next level. MSSO is responsible for publishing and maintaining the MedDRA. So the interview question, who maintains and who publishes the MedDRA is MSSO, which is Maintenance and Support Service Organization. So now each organization has 100 CRs per month, and it's a simple changes, which is PT and LLT level modifications can be done, which is 7 to 10 working days. And complete change, which is PT level, can be all over round. Anytime you can do it. There are two versions you will get it. One is on March, which is major version. Complex and simple changes will be done in March. But September version, only the dot ones will be removed, which is simple only changes. Now, I think this is the older version, which is 23.1. I think it is now 26.1, which we have, or 27.1. So 27.1 is the current version which we have. MedDRA version is 27.1, wherein it is September month version has already crossed. So 27.1 version is the latest version. So there is one more thing for the medical coding, which is WHODD, which is World Health Organization Drug Dictionary. So it's also called as WHO, which is World Health Organization Drug Reference List, which is also called as DRL. So now WHO Drug Dictionary. WHO Drug Dictionary is an international classification of medicines created by WHO programs for international drug monitorings. And these are managed by UMC, Uppsala Monitoring Committee. All the drugs which are being used by WHO drug dictionaries are enhanced and classified as per ATCs, which is anatomic, therapeutic, and chemical classification, which is ATC classifications. Yeah, so these are drug dictionary formats. WHODD is distributed to all users in two formats, B3 and C3 format, and users can decide which one you have to use. B3 format, which is alphanumeric codes, and C3 formats, including drug codes. In addition, there might be some of the marketed products also will be added, which is alphanumeric medicinal product, which is ID, which is C3 format. So now this is the code numbers can be used. WHODD code numbers can be used, wherein position 1 to 6, what can be done, position 7 to 8 can be done, and position 9 to 11 can be done. So now this is about medication classification of ATC coding. And these are the 5 levels. First level, you will have the consisting of 14 main groups. So these are 14 main groups, first level, and this is second level. So the second level examples are consisting of 2 digits, C03 or diuretic, something like that. And this is the next levels, wherein the above system ATC coding can be done for metformins. Okay, so now why MedDRA is being used and the uses of MedDRA, where we can use the MedDRA. So a simple thing, MedDRA can be used for the first process, which is pharmacovigilance, wherein ICSR cases will be getting individual case safety reports you will be getting. And you can process the ICSR cases. And during ICSR cases also, you will get adverse events and indications and drug details and all those things. So pharmacovigilance purpose, you can use MedDRA. The second one is clinical trial events. The clinical during conduct of clinical trials and clinical data management you can do, because you will get a lot of data from the CRF's case report forms, and you have to code the medication terms and also the codes, and regulatory submissions you can do, and signal detection and material vigilance can be done. So this is about the use of MedDRA. So how MedDRA is being used, or medications or the adverse event terms are being used. Yeah. So now coming back to most important point, Clinosol is expanding by conducting MedDRA hands-on workshop. So this theoretical part I have explained already. So, but we wanted to conduct 2 days of hands-on workshop offline as of now we are thinking, but we can do it online also. So now why we wanted to conduct this MedDRA workshop? Because we wanted to give some terms to students, and we wanted to make sure the adverse events are being coded correctly and they can navigate by using structure of MedDRA. So we wanted to give access of MedDRA, and we wanted to make sure that they are able to code it particularly by using the MedDRA structures and hierarchies. So this is the first point which we wanted to do. And we wanted to make sure that it covers the key concepts like SOCs, the standard or system organ classes, and also coding practices, the best practices, how to code and how we can make sure, and maintaining consistency in regulatory submissions, how regulatory submissions can be done. So this is particularly useful for people who wanted to go into pharmacovigilance or CDM or clinical trials or SAS or medical writing, because everywhere you will be using this MedDRA coding. Ideal for professionals, which is drug safety and clinical trials and regulatory affairs, and also hands-on training will be given for the students for making sure that accuracy and compliance in the medical reporting. As of now, we are doing it offline, but we are thinking it can be hybrid also, that a trainer will be there offline who will be taking this MedDRA workshop, and we can record this and put it in live also. So that's something which we are still thinking. We are not confirmed. So it will be 2 days of programs, and this 2 days, what we will be going and doing is first 4 hours, trainers will be explaining about the whole process and doing the coding in front of you. After 4 hours, the next 4 hours, we will be giving practice for the students to practice. This will be 2 days, and certificate of participation will be given after successful completion of exam. And material soft copy will be given, slides will be given, and this will be 2 days hands-on workshop, which is on Saturday and Sunday. So now what is the benefit of this? So first one, open to all, anyone can attend, but first preference definitely is being given for Clinosol students, and 16 hours of training. As of now, we are thinking it as offline, but we can do it offline and online based on the feedback which we are going to get. And we are going to give study materials, first point. And the second point, we are going to give the resume points also, that what MedDRA resume points we can have. This will be hands-on on MedDRA web browser, and certificate workshop will be given. If you are having your own laptop, it will be supportive for hands-on, or else we'll be forming 4-5 groups, 5 people in one group, and then you can utilize hands-on workshop with the 5 students in a group. And we are going to give the resume points and make sure that you are, end of the day, you are going and getting this things. So the cost of this MedDRA workshop, we have assumed, or we have thought of having this cost very minimal. So which we are thinking as 500 rupees. And we will only have, I think as of now, 30 students is something which we are thinking to have offline. But if online also we are doing it, another 20 students online, we can do it. So this is about all about how we are going to conduct the workshop. So we are thinking to have such a date which can be utilized for everyone. So might be it will be November 2nd and 3rd, which is on Saturday and Sunday, or we might have on Friday and Saturday. So it is open to all, anyone can register. If anyone wants to know more information about it, you can contact this number. But I would request every student to utilize this opportunity to attend offline than online, because offline you might have the trainer directly to answer your questions. So now I'm open for questions. The contact informations are being given here. So we will be taking the registrations from tomorrow, and we'll be closing in another 2-3 days, so that we can plan for the further things about materials and certificates. Printed name certificate we are trying to give, and hands-on training we want to give, and we want to give more of interaction with the trainer who is from industry. I'll also be there. One more trainer will be coming, and the other 2 trainers will be coming, and I will also be there, who will be able to take the sessions. So now I think with this, I'm closing my session, and I'm open for questions. Any questions anyone have, you can ask me, so that I will be able to answer. Yashu, we can stop the recording now, and we can